Somebody asked me what the lift lines were like at Blue Mountain, holiday weekend, ski weekend. Yes, they were long, admittedly long. The lifties there do an unbelievable job of moving everybody through with, 6-chair lifts, and they're just like, as everybody's merging from the two sides. How many you got? Two? You pair with those two, you go with those two. Bang, get on. All right, we need a single here. And we ended up mostly skiing singles because you just moved through that singles line quicker. But yeah, they did a great job of moving people through. And somebody else asked about the terrain. It's a wide variety. There is a lot of black diamond runs on the north end that aren't open at night. So if you go there, I'd hit those early if that's your thing. But there's a wide variety for everybody. And yes, there is a terrain park for people who like that. It is great. Blue Mountain, Ontario. Thumbs up. So 248-539-9797. So today is tag day, or I guess the beginning of the franchise tag window in the National Football League. So thus begins the negotiations with teams and their free agents. I don't know that everybody completely understands this because it's one of the weird subtleties of the way the NFL does something. If you have a player that's becoming a free agent, an unrestricted free agent, that player, you can guarantee that you hang on to him if you give him the franchise tag designation. So instead of him getting to the open market, you say, we're going to tag you.
And you get him for 1 year.
Yep.
At a price that is, the top five, the average of the top 5 players at that position.
Yes.
For the one season.
There's also provision that if you're already that, you get like a 10% raise from that. If you're already one of those guys. And if you get tagged a second time, you get a 20% raise.
It's a big hike.
Yeah, there's subtleties. Please don't sue me if I got some of them wrong. Please don't sue me at all. But in this particular instance, it's something along those lines. Right. Don't touch them.
Don't go past the hog line.
Rules to live by. Anyway, so teams now have decisions to make. And the big name that impacts us is Tyler Linderbaum. Tyler Linderbaum is the best free agent available at a position that it feels like the Lions could really need. They no longer have Frank Ragnow. He was an anchor on the offensive line, and Linderbaum is the center, free agent center from the Baltimore Ravens, which means he could be had in free agency to the highest bidder, whichever. I guess it's not necessarily the highest bidder, but whoever puts together an offer that he prefers. So with that said, we now await to find out what the Ravens are going to do. It's a 2-week period, which means there can be some negotiations on an extension. So, once you decide you're going to tag a player, I'm pretty sure you can continue to negotiate. And then in the end, before the season starts,
work out a long-term deal.
If you don't work out a long-term deal, that player plays for 1 year for you on the average of the top 5 at the position. Most people project that Linderbaum will be in the $18 million range. Could be more, could be less. It just depends on the bidding. People think if he gets to the open market and doesn't get tagged, that John Harbaugh, and he will not let him escape. His former coach in Baltimore will sign him up there with the Giants. Linderbaum is listed as the 3rd best free agent available on an updated list. With free agency now being something like 3 weeks away. We have a 2-week tag period, and then free agency starts in 3 weeks. So if Baltimore decides not to franchise tag him, meaning they don't want to pay him that kind of money or would rather spend it somewhere else, and Linderbaum hits the open market, he is listed as the 3rd best free agent, and ESPN lists the best team fit for him as the New York Giants. So there you go. There's the John Harbaugh thing. Gator, are there any other tag players that we should take great interest in, do you think, that the Lions might want to go after?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't gone through the list of those players that are eligible for it. It just seems like the Lions are in hell when it comes to salary cap.
They got some work to do.
They have work to do before they can even start to dream. And I think once they get the work done, then they can start filling some spots. And I think we'll be probably surprised at how much cap space they're able to clear out. Mm-hmm. But will Tyler Linderbaum be part of it? I don't know. something tells me he's just destined to go to the Giants and go play for his old coach, and it's a young up-and-coming team, and just go there.
Maybe this will help. There are 10 players in the NFL that ESPN's projecting would likely get tagged or could get tagged.
Okay.
Kyle Pitts, the tight end from the Atlanta Falcons. Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end from Cincinnati. George Pickens, the wide receiver from Dallas. Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce, the quarterback and wide receiver from the Indianapolis Colts. Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Jacksonville. Travis Etienne, the running back from Jacksonville. Odefe Owa, the outside linebacker from the Chargers. Anybody else? I don't want to read this whole list because some teams have two. They're not going to get a kicker. Kenneth Walker could get tagged. I mean, Trey Hendrickson's a name that's come up in Detroit so much.
I mean, that's the only one that interests me out of that list.
But given his injuries and his age and what he would cost.
Well, SpotTrack has his market value at $25 million.
I'm a hard no on Trey Hendrickson as of right now. Like, he got hurt and missed a bunch of last year. He's reached that point in his career where a lot of edge rushers, their production goes down. There's a few exceptions. But when you get north of 30, I feel like you'd be paying Trey Hendrickson for what he did and not what he's about to do.
Well, the first thing I'd have to ask myself is, what is the cost? And if the cost is beyond what you're willing to pay, then you just move on from there. Now, if you think you can get a deal on him, then go ahead and kick the tires. But I don't think they're going to get a deal on Trey Hendrickson. And it's just that simple to pass him over and move on to the next. Because, I mean, to your point, he is coming off of injuries the last couple of years. Prior to that, he had a ridiculous sack total for the previous 2 seasons, where he led the National Football League. But now he's starting to break down a little bit. He's over 31 years old now. Does it make more sense? Would you rather spend $25 million in Trey Hendrickson or spend $8 or $9 million in El-Khadim Muhammad?
El-Khadim Muhammad. I really would. And there's no question that Trey Hendrickson at his best is way more the player that El-Khadim Muhammad is. El-Khadim Muhammad on the open market is being projected as roughly an $8 million player. And that works. I mean, that could work for me, depending on, what else they were able to do in free agency. And, we're in this weird place where we're spending money that isn't available because the Lions don't have available money, but they do have, the ability to restructure and let some guys go to creep some cap space. All right, I mentioned the big name. At number 38, best fit, Detroit Lions, edge rusher, Joey Bosa. Lions had 16 sacks on third down last season, tied for 15th most in the league, so Detroit could add Bosa to elevate its sub-package pass rush. Bosa fits well opposite Aiden Hutchinson with his speed to power production and the effort level to clean up late in plays.
Yeah, I'd rather have El-Khadim Muhammad.
Would you?
Because he's more productive. Joey Bosa, at one point in time, Joey Bosa was a guy.
Yep.
Right? I mean, he started off his career, he was incredible, at 13 sacks his rookie season, had a couple more double-digit sack totals, but the last one came in 2021 when he had 11.
The last double-digit sack.
Yeah, then he's been hurt. Played 5 games in 2022, had 3 sacks. Played 9 games in 2023, had 7. Played 14 games in 2024, had 5. Played 15 games last year and had 5.
Mm-hmm.
More production comes from El-Khadim Muhammad, and also at a predicted lower cost. The SpotTrack estimate on Joey Bosa, the market value says $13.7 million.
Yeah, that's way too much for me. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's way too much for many people in the league. I could be wrong. Bosa at the right price, as they put it, as a sub-edge rusher, as a role player, if you're getting Joey Bosa here in 2026 at the age of 30, and I think he turns 31 during next season, you are not paying peak Joey Bosa money. And I'm actually probably wouldn't pay 13.738. Now, to the Lions' credit, and what they're going to be able to do is they're going to be able to see the whole picture. How do we build the most complete roster we can build when we renegotiate, when we make our cuts? What does our budget look like? And what are our priorities? I have zero interest in Joey Bosa at 13.7. I have a lot more interest in Joey Bosa as a role player. And Joey Bosa feels to me like the kind of guy that won't go early in free agency. Mm-hmm. He will be a second or third wave player
You'll be a Chris Bassett, Justin Verlander pickup late in the process.
Yes, that's exactly what, obviously what the Tigers just did. But in the case of Bosa, if he goes first wave, I'm not interested. But if he's still in the market when we're getting ready for training camp, if he's still out there, I think that's a phone call you could make. Now, El-Quadin Muhammad had a really, really nice year for Detroit, far exceeded an expectation. Is it repeatable? At his age, I don't think he's going to get a ton of term. So it's just something to keep in mind and to look for.
Well, his pressure rate based on the number of plays that he was in on, it's really impressive.
It is. It's an outlier in his career, but it is really impressive.
But he may not be the guy that plays every down, but if they use him like they did last year, then that's great. And that doesn't stop them from going out and getting somebody else. And there's a lot of edge rushers this year in the free agent class. I mean, a lot of them. There's high-end guys, and then there's guys that have potential, like El-Quadin Muhammad had potential, right? There's a ton of these guys. So I would hold off. I certainly wouldn't go for and you're not swinging big, because if I'm going to swing big, it's going to be for an offensive lineman, specifically a center. Whether it's Linderbaum or somebody else that's available, go get that. I'm not interested in Joey Bosa. It would have to be, like you said, it would have to be one of these last-minute free agent signings that is very low risk, high reward, and go ahead and take that chance. That's fine.
Yep.
But I think there are plenty other names out there that are guys we've talked about before. Your Arden Keys, your Tier Gross Matos. There's a lot of guys on this list that would make more sense than throwing a bunch of money at one of these guys.
So a lot of people like other centers that are available. We'll tell you where they're projected to go, plus the one Lion that's on the top 50 free agent list, what it says about him and where he may or may not be next year. We will get to that today at 10:50 here on Karsch and Anderson 97.1.